On today's episode of Identity, engineer and entrepreneur Craig Wing pops by for coffee. We hang out with the members of the Bonakala Sports, Arts and Culture Group in Daveyton. In our What's Happening segment, we review a running app and a book by Collen Nxumalo. Then we fill up your spiritual plates with the sounds of Max-Hoba.
I am an individual with an imagination. My inner faith illuminates innovations. In a space with infinite inspiration, I was born free from all incarceration. Incredible, living infallibly, intelligent, outshine with my inner being. This is me, impeccable as ever been. I am you, you are me. This is my identity.
Sanibonani, Dumelang, and good morning. We bid you a warm welcome on this first Sunday of the new year. This is your #1 multi-faith youth show, Identity, and my name is Viwe Gxwala. The month of January is Skincare Awareness Month. Skin cancer is one of the most common forms of cancer, and yet it's also one of the most preventable. Contrary to popular belief, a darker skin tone does not mean you don't need sunscreen. Use a broad spectrum sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher every day. Mzansians, let's get clued up on skin cancer and take the necessary precautions to prevent it. Certainly a New Year's resolution to follow through with. Ngokungamoshi ixesha, masingene kwinkqubo yanamhlanje. Umlingani wami uMpumi Mbethe uyawafumana ithuba lokuncokola noCraig Wing ofundele ubu-engineer kwaye unogqozi ngobushishini. Incoko yabo ihambe ngale ndlela kwivenkile yethu.
Hard work, determination and passion are always at the forefront of a fruitful and successful life. Our guest today embodies these ideals. At a very young age, Craig managed to start 3 companies. Focal Point Engineering, a software venture that is aimed to help partially sighted children. Wingnuts Consulting, which helped launch the Center of Entrepreneurship at the University of the Witwatersrand, as well as Clean Tech U. Through Clean Tech U, he managed to raise over $200,000, launched it at 6 United States universities and 2 Chinese universities. Craig is also a board member of the Babson Social Innovation Lab, Brightest Young Minds, Moving into Dance Midtown, and SA Women in Engineering. Wow. Welcome to Identity, Craig.
Much appreciated.
That is a whole lot. How many hours in a day do you have?
Well, same as everyone else. I guess it's just a question of how you use those hours.
And tell me about your childhood. A Chinese kid growing up in Alberton. Take me through those years.
Well, it's a very interesting thing, you know. During those times when I was growing up, I grew up during the apartheid days, right? And during that time, it was very difficult to be non-white, let's put it that way. Going to an English school, it was a difficult time. Specifically when you don't understand what's going on culturally or contextually as a child. You know, there were times where there was a lot of racial abuse and you know, slurs that came away, but as a child you're like, well, people are just being mean, why are they being mean, and that was it. But really through those formative years, I suppose, it was really a question of really understanding who I was, but more importantly who I wasn't. And I think growing up as a child like that, you start seeing the world through the people that you associate with. And so I viewed the world as my peers and as my friends. But it was a very interesting period of time. A good time, obviously, you know, to learn about myself and more importantly, to see the world.
But were you raised in a religious, spiritual home? How did faith, what role did faith play during those years?
Yeah, you know, I was raised in a Christian home. My grandmother and my aunt in particular ensured that I went to church. You know, and from a very young age, from 4 or 5 years old, I went to church. It became a cornerstone of my life and really my beliefs. And my Christian beliefs really extended up until where I am right now. And those are certain values, you know, things like putting other people before yourselves, really trying to be humble, really trying to do what's best for the world. So religion played a big role in my life, specifically Christianity, and the role of my belief that, you know, that everyone has a chance and everyone deserves to be given a fair right.
And when you completed your studies at the Witwatersrand, you went all the way to the United States. Tell me about that trip. How did it come about and what happened during those years there?
Yeah, so there was the stage where I had my second company, Wingnuts Engineering. And part of that journey was for me to try to identify, how do I move from being an engineer to a business person? Up until that stage, I'd pretty much been bumping in the dark, trying to work out things by myself, and I realized I really wanted to formalize my business education. What other way of doing it than doing an MBA? And so I applied to a number of universities overseas, not local. The rationale for that wasn't because I didn't think the local ones were good enough, but specifically because I wanted to challenge myself on a global scale. And it was an incredible time of my life, specifically because it allowed me to question everything that I'd known to be true up to that point, and evaluate what's better, what's best, what's right, what's wrong.
What would you say the South African business market is like at the moment?
Current business market, I think, is a difficult one. There's a lot of talk that unfortunately we're heading into a recession, which is defined by the academics as 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. It's a problem. It's a problem mostly because we don't create enough jobs. But it's an easy thing to say we don't create enough jobs. It's more specific to say, how do we create those jobs? I don't believe the mandate by saying just creating a job is good enough. I think the real driver for that will be creating more small businesses. Small businesses are the ones that create jobs, more so than corporations. When you look at recessionary times, and whether this is the US or Europe, big companies scale down a lot quicker. And so the people at risk are in the numbers of thousands, tens of thousands. Small businesses is where they thrive and they come out. So we need more small businesses, and that's the driver.
Craig, you've traveled not only to the US and Europe, you've also traveled to Ghana and Mauritius. Tell me, how has all this traveling influenced your beliefs and, experiencing diverse cultures from different nations?
Yeah, it's interesting. All the places that I've been to, but even more than just places, all the experiences really open up your view on the world. Right? And going to all these other places, what I've done is I've deliberately tried to see the world through the locals' point of view. So not as a visitor, not as a guest. I try not to just stay in the hotels. I try not just to go to the fancy places, but really walk in the streets, take local transport. Part of that is to expose me to how life is viewed as someone from that country. It's really important that I do those things because it opens up my view of how things are done. It also challenges my beliefs. It's an incredible experience to go to a country to eat the food that the locals would eat, to take the same kind of transport, to really encourage yourself or to push yourself to understand the world from their point of view. That then reinforces the things that you may know that are correct or that are incorrect. Right? And then you have to be very smart about saying what's best for me and what's best for my context.
Who inspires you?
I think my 2 inspirational forces were my 2 grandmothers. Right? Both my grandfathers passed away, one before I was born, the other one when I was very young. And seeing how they, I don't want to say struggle, but how they adapted through life. Right? It wasn't very easy. They were immigrants, they tried their best. They had a big family, they had lots of kids, but they always put their children first. The one grand that I mentioned before was very influential in me becoming a Christian. Really understanding how her faith served her so well was an inspiration.
There are kids out there watching us today who are not encouraged to go into the fields that you have been studying, from IT to business, and they're not even thinking pursuing an MBA. What would you say to that young person?
What I'd say to that young person trying to work their way in life is think of what the world is going to be like in 15 years, in 10 years. Not the world that you see now, not the world that your parents are in. What do you think the world is going to be? And then go and create it. Find something that gives you the basic skills that you can learn. And that's the key. Find something where you'll carry on learning.
And I have a magic if game. I want to tap on the other side of Craig's brain. If you lost your voice, how would you communicate?
Well, for starters, I think a lot of people would be very happy if I lost my voice. So I think that's the biggest thing. How would I communicate? Hopefully through illustrations and drawing, but I can't draw to save my life, so it'll be a really it'll be a really bad experience of Pictionary, where people were constantly misunderstanding what I was saying. But I think that's probably the way that I try to communicate.
If you had all the money in the world, who would you spend it on?
I'd probably see if there's a way that we can grow that finance.
And if the world was ending tomorrow, what's the last thing you would do?
Get out of bed.
If you won an Oscar, who would you thank first in your speech?
Man, like all things, I think I'd probably thank I'd thank God and I'd thank my parents.
And if you could live in someone's mind for a whole week, who would that be?
Stephen Hawking.
If you were a movie, what genre would that movie be?
I think it would be a good mixture of a little bit of action, a bit of comedy.
I think you would make a very good biography. Thank you so much. Thank you, Craig. Thanks for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thanks to Mpumi Mbete for an inspirational chat with Craig Wing. I'm definitely motivated and looking forward to take on the new year with the advice he has offered. It's time now for a quick commercial break. When we return, our team heads to Daveyton to spend time with the Bonakala Sports, Arts and Cultural Group. See you in a moment.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
Welcome back. You are still watching the multi-faith show that aims to kickstart your week on a spiritual note. Remember, guys, to hit us up on all social media platforms. The name to search for is Identity TV Show. You can also drop us an email at identitytvshow@gmail.com and tell us what you think of the show. We enjoy reading your messages. Kwibali lethu lanamhlanje sibonane noTholakele Nkosi owaye wasinika ulwazi ngomsebenzi awenzayo eBonakala Sports, Arts and Cultural Group kwindawo avela kuyo eDaveyton. Masiyojonga.
This is my identity.
Sanibonani ma-identity viewers, igama lami ngingutholakele Nkosi, ngihlala lapha eDaveyton. I'm a member of Bonakala Sports, Arts and Culture. Currently sila eDenparazi Primary School located at Etwatwa. And sinama rehearsals that are taking place. Let's go and see ukuthi igroup yam idume ngani. Let's go. What the group will be doing today is poetry, traditional dance, and storytelling. But before we meet other Bonakala members, we first need to have a little chat with the managing director of Bonakala Sports, Arts and Culture, who goes by the name Mr. Martin Reichardt. Unjani baba?
Ngiyaphila kunjani Tholakele?
Ngiyaphila. First of all, when was Bonakala established and what inspired its formation?
Bonakala was established in January 2009, and what inspired us to establish iBonakala ukuthi siyasabona ukuthi kune talent eliningi elikhona elidinga exposure, and we made it our responsibility as iBonakala Sports, Arts and Culture to expose that particular talent, nurture the talent that the young people have.
iBonakala idume kakhulu nge-traditional dance. What other cultural aspects do you do or do you teach the group?
Yeah, sizama ngakho konke okusemandleni Tholakele ukuthi sibafundise indabuko yabo, imvelaphi yabo, bavelaphi labantwana ukuze bazazi bona ukuthi bangobani. Asipheleli kuphela ekubafundiseni umdanso owodwa. Sibafundisa nomlando wama culture ahlukene, because South Africa it's very dynamic. We've got so many different cultures, and it's important for us to understand each other, and we need to know each other and understand the different cultures that we have, so that me and you can live in harmony, understanding our different cultures.
Kubantu abaningi lapha eNingizimu Afrika, when one mentions Zulu traditions, siyazi ukuthi sonke vele nje kuqhume umdanso wabe engqondweni zethu. Yingakho nje namhlanje ngijoyine uKhulekani Manqele, ongomunye wama choreographers nama directors weZulu traditional dance. How are you Khulekani Manqele?
Ngiyaphila kunjani sisi?
Ngiyaphila. Ngicela ungitshele kabanzi, why did you decide to specifically choose to teach iZulu traditional dancing?
Into engiyibonile Tholakele ukuthi masingabantu kumele sibuyile emasikweni wethu, because there's one thing that I believe mangumuntu ukuthi isihlahla asikhuli singanawo ama roots, so we need to go back to my roots. Ngiyenze lento lena ukuthi enziwe ekhaya, yabona, not only kuZulu but in all the cultures. Umuntu kwamele azi ukuthi buya kwimvelo yakhe enze lento leyo.
Unjani mfethu?
Ngiyaphila sisi kunjani?
ngiyaphila. There are many different Zulu styles. Ngicela ungichazele kabanzi with this different Zulu traditional dances. Ahluka kanjani, khamba kanjani, amagama wakhona. Yeah.
Okay, thina sisi senza ilokhuzana umaskandi. Umaskandi ishuthi into entsha. Oqala abantu abadala babe benza umdabu. Abanye babeshaya isicathamia. Bese kuya kulokhuzana iSbergville. iSbergville shuthi saqala eBergville. Kodwa istyle lesi esicishe siyele kumzansi. Bese kuba ushamene. Ushamene ila esingaphakamisi khona inyawo kakhulu. Shuthi shaya nje sipani mhlawumbe sihlangene sibaningi.
Ushamene. Ungangenzela yena nje ushamene nje.
Ngakungenzela.
Okay.
Mina ngisemkhunjini umbone, ngawumbone kanjani.
Sisinomvelo ngithanda ukwazi ukuthi traditional dance esabalekile entsheni yamanje especially njengoba ku 2014 ucabanga ukuthi i-traditional dance ibalulekile yini?
Yeah, i-traditional dance ibaluleke kakhulu because amasiko yona into engadingakalanga ukuthi ilahlwe, yona into edingakalayo ukuthina abantu. Ngoba akudingakala ukuthi silahle amasiko wethu.
Great people like Mama Mzansians and others are known for their influences in preserving the African culture of storytelling. Now, Bonakala Sports, Arts and Culture is also fascinated and passionate of continuing with this tradition of storytelling. Now, Mr. Martins, tell me more about the storytelling. Where does storytelling originate?
Storytelling tholakele it's an ancient thing. Emandulo sasingenayo izinto ezinjengemisakazo o television. So beyithike uma sekuhlwa ntambama abantu abadala ikakhulu omama yibo abane njoba usume umention umama umgcina mhlophe yibo abantu bomama bebathatha ingane bazibuthe bahlale phansi bese bezixoxela ke inganekwane. This storytelling ngesizulu inganekwane la sesithi khona kwesukasukela.
As you've experienced today, arts and culture is one of the most powerful tools that can be used to keep us connected to our roots and heritage.
This is my identity.
A big thank you to Martin Reichhardt and the rest of the Bonakala group. We wish them all the best as they continue to promote hidden talent at grassroots level. It's time for another short break. When we come back, we head straight into our What's Appening media segment where we review a running app and a book by local author Collen Nxumalo. Stay tuned.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
Welcome back to another infotaining episode of Identity right here on SABC1. If you have just joined us, here's what you missed. Engineer and entrepreneur Craig Wing shared his values and future hopes with us. We then took a short left to Daveyton where we spent a day with the Bonakala Sports, Arts and Cultural Group. It's now time for our What's Appening segment. Kunyaka omtsha inokuba uwenze izithembiso zokuzigcina unempilo. I-review yethu yokuqala yi-app eza kukunceda wenze njalo. Ibizwa Couch to 5K. Couch to 5K is an app designed to get you ready to run your first 5-kilometer race in 9 weeks. All you need to do is commit to working towards this goal for 20 to 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. Start by clicking the Settings tab. Here you can set workout options that suit you. You can also select a virtual trainer to coach you through your workouts. The 4 trainers have different personalities, so pick the trainer that you feel will motivate you the most. Once you've decided on which days of the week you prefer to work out, you can kickstart your running program. Upon selecting the relevant week and day, the app will give you a brief rundown of the workout routine you'll be undertaking. Select the Go to Workout option, press Start, and your virtual trainer will take you through your workout. You can use the app to track your progress according to your total distance and pace. And once done, you have the option to log your workouts and share your progress on Facebook. If you are new to running, then the Couch to 5K running app will set you well on your way to fitness. Download it today. What better way to burn those festive season calories than to take up running? On to our second review for the day. It's a book that was nominated for the first time published author award in the SA Literary Awards in 2013. It's the book From This Point by Collen Nxumalo. From This Point is a collection of poetry and a short story based on the author's life experiences. Starting off with the poetry section, the author follows a young man's battle to find himself and to know what his God-given talent is. The poems touch on subjects such as hardships, challenges that life throws, love and family, amongst other things. The second part of the book is a short story, which the author says summarizes his own life experiences. The first chapter introduces the reader to Sbusiso, the main character, giving some background information on his upbringing and his surroundings. Collen Nxumalo will motivate, inspire and entertain you with his storytelling. From This Point is one book you certainly want to add to your collection. Get it at a leading bookstore near you. Tomorrow marks World Braille Day. This day is celebrated in honor of Louis Braille, the inventor of the Braille language, who was born on this day in 1809. Braille plays an essential role in the lives of many who are visually impaired. This invention opened the doors to literacy, intellectual freedom and equal opportunity for the visually impaired across the world. That brings us to the end of today's episode of Identity. To get in touch with us, all you need to do is to send an email to identitytvshow@gmail.com. You can also hook up with us on the social media scene. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, or hook up with us on Instagram and tag us to share your spiritual and cultural activities. The name to search for is Identity TV Show on all 3 platforms. We look forward to your messages, tweets and photos. Masidibane kwakhona ngecawe elandelayo ngexesha elifanayo khonapha ku SABC 1. Sinongeza ngezomoya ngomculo ka Max-Hoba nengoma yakhe ethi Find a Way. Kum uViwe Gxwala neqela le-Identity sithi salani kakuhle, uThixo anisikelele.
I'm gonna close my eyes into the land if I'm cause I've been working real hard to change the same or so about me back. Can't remember command the lady. Now did you go me? But a kulula go fele kube jalo. To make it in the world you need to find a way. To make it, hey, in the world you need to find a way. I'm gonna fold my arms and in the rivers of Shama. Cause I'm so far to Pumeleli, Navandiba. Can't remember Kamandeleni, Nam did you go me? Got a Bulula. Vele